I want to thank Chairman Murkowski. Thank you so much, and my dear friend, Ranking Member Cantwell, for allowing me to have this opportunity, but also for this hearing. Full disclaimer: West Virginia, as you know, has been a heavy lifting state for a long time. We're very blessed and very pleased to be able to provide the energy the country's needed, starting way back when for making the steel that builds the ships that defends our country. So we're very proud of the energy part that we play in this great nation. With that, I think you all know that I'm an all-in energy portfolio, and the state of West Virginia is too, even though coal has been a dominant factor now that the Marcellus shales come on so strong, and Utica and even Rogersville. So we've been blessed, and we're going to be able to help the country for many years to come. With that, as you know, I've been vocal about ensuring the reliability and resilience of our grid for some years, particularly since the polar vortex of 2014, which you all alluded to, and also the recent cold period that we hit. I supported the recent Department of Energy grid study and the subsequent proposal by FERC rulemaking. I've been asking questions about reliability and resilience in this committee for some time, and will continue to do so, particularly because we continue to see coal and nuclear plants going offline. We know the market forces that are at play. But over the most recent deep freeze of the bomb cyclone, as many are calling it, the grid performed well, and I think you all recognize that. And I applaud each of you in your role, particularly you, Mr. Ott, in staying vigilant to make sure West Virginia homes stayed warm and the lights stayed on, since PJM is over West Virginia. I want to stress 3 points. We need to stay vigilant because coal-fired power performed well during the latest cold snap, yet many plants are fighting to survive. We need to better protect consumers from the shock and hardship of high electric bills when these events happen, and West Virginia bills, as my colleague Senator Capito will tell you, have risen exorbitantly in a very short period of time, no fault of its own. And I continue to be concerned that without criteria or standards for resilience, it is truly hard to know whether our grid is actually resilient or not. So for those people who believe that we can do without fossil completely, I want us all to be completely honest and accurate with them. We can't. Maybe that day will come in the future. It's not here. And for what period of time and how soon that'll happen, I don't know. I want to make sure we can provide what this country needs immediately and now, and continue to do so for the time that it's going to be called upon. If I can start with you, Mr. McIntyre, and go down, I'll ask one question. What would this country have done without the backup of coal-fired plants in the polar vortex and also this last bomb cyclone, if you will? And what critical position would have put our country, if any? So we can put that to rest and find out how we can stabilize and keep coal vibrant so it's there for that resilience that we need and the dependability this country needs.
Thank you for the question, Senator. Coal did, as you heard from a couple of our witnesses here, perform well alongside other
Would the system been, I guess the question I'm asking, would the system have been able to be flexible enough to provide the energy we needed during these periods of time?
I think in this recent weather event, we wouldn't have seen any widespread outages absent coal. That said, coal was a key contributor. It wasn't exempt from operational problems. There were some issues, as I understand it, with frozen coal piles on certain sites and so on, but it was no question a key contributor. I share your overall view that all of the above needs to be our philosophy of the different types of
coal needs to have a place in this energy grid mix. Okay, Mr. Walker?
Yes, sir. Thank you for the question. So you said something that I just want to, there's a little bit of a nuance. It's whether or not we could or should survive without the coal. And I think
well, there's some people that think that we should.
Right. And I think it's very important to point out
I think they're wrong.
That the evolution of the electric grid has inextricably tied together the vast energy systems throughout the United States. Coal, natural gas, oil, in so much as what we've done is we've put ourselves in a position where we now have more infrastructure to have to protect to ensure the safe and reliable distribution of bulk power. And so, coal did play an important part here. And on average, it presented and provided 38% of the load during this event. So,
take that 38%, if it wasn't available, we'd have been serious problems.
The markets would have met the need with just simply much higher resources. But The point I'm trying to make, and perhaps not well, is that when we start relying on those other resources, things like natural gas and things like oil, we also increase our exposure, because now the critical infrastructure in this country is not, it's not the coal sitting at a plant or a nuclear facility where I've got the nuclear fuel there. I've got to rely on thousands of miles of pipeline or transportation systems to get oil to the locations. So the challenge to manage this, particularly in facing the threats we have today with mostly physical and cybersecurity, really should give us pause to step back and think about the diversity of mix. And whether or not we could ever get rid of oil, I think the better question for us is, should we get rid of oil? Because it does, or coal rather,
Yeah,
because
I'm not worried about
because
oil.
each one of those has certain unique characteristics that are very important. I apologize for that. On page 86 of the staff report, there's a chart that defines the different values that different types of generation add. And it's really, I think, what we have an opportunity going forward with, and I look forward to working with FERC and the respective RTOs, is really finding that optimal mix that gives us the diversity for the resiliency and also minimizes our exposure from the cyber and physical threats that we face today.
Madam Chairman, I know my time is up. Can I just ask Mr. Walker, Mr. Ott with the PJM, he's responsible for delivering the 56 million, I think. Was it 56 million?
You were pressing your luck here this morning. Mr. Ott, if you could reply
I'll
quickly.
make it very short. The reality is, again, for this past event, 45,000 megawatts of the electricity that we delivered, which is 40% or more, was coal-fired. We could not have served customers without the coal-fired resources. That's the reality. The point is are the prices reflecting the fact that those resources are running? My answer is no, it's not. We need to fix that. We clearly need it for now. The question is, how does it transition? Clearly, some coal plants don't run. They never run. They don't produce electricity. They're just hanging on. They should go. The ones that are running and online every day to serve customers should be reflected in the price. So we need those. Some can go, some have to stay.
Thank you all. Thank you, Madam Chairman, for being such considerate, kind.